Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something we all do, filling in the blanks when we're faced with the unknown. We're going to scale all the way up from a tiny, seemingly ordinary kitchen caper right up to a massive global enigma. We'll see exactly how our initial assumptions tend to, well, get the best of us, and why the real truth is usually hiding right there in plain sight.
So, what do a messy kitchen, an itchy lion, and a haunted ocean have in common? I know, it sounds like the setup to a totally bizarre joke, right? But believe it or not, connecting these completely different stories reveals something absolutely fascinating about how human beings solve mysteries. Whether we're kids, kings of the jungle, or seasoned sea captains, we literally all share this wild tendency to jump to crazy conclusions way before we actually check the facts.
Section 1. A small kitchen caper. Our story kicks off with a micro-mystery involving two siblings, Tom and Lily. Their parents left them home alone for a bit, giving them pretty simple instructions. Be good and eat the food that was left out in the kitchen. But pretty quickly, they find missing bananas, a totally suspicious peel on the floor, and just a massive mess. They are completely, utterly puzzled.
So, when the kids hear this strange noise and see the discarded fruit, they immediately jump to an assumption. They think, is it a mouse? They initially guess that a tiny, run-of-the-mill household pest is the culprit, and hey, it's a completely logical first guess based on the limited data they have. But the reality turns out to be way more chaotic.
Turns out, no. It's a terrified little monkey named Bongo. Yeah, a monkey. According to the story, Bongo had actually escaped from an overturned animal transport wagon on a rainy night, ran from a dog, and literally leaped right through Tom and Lily's open kitchen window to find a safe place to hide. He's wearing this little green collar with his name on it, and he is just fast, bouncing all over the place, knocking over vases, and he even steals the remote to turn on the TV.
Now, what's genuinely impressive here is how the kids handle this whole crisis systematically, instead of just losing their minds. Rather than letting that initial shock dictate their actions, they pivot straight to a factual, step-by-step approach. Step 1, they realize chasing him is just going to cause more damage. Step 2, they observe that he rejects apples, but hey, maybe he'll like grapes. And Step 3, the most important one, they recognize they're in way over their heads and need professional help. So they call animal rescue and wait, making sure Bongo gets home completely safe.
Section 2. The Itchy Jungle King. Okay, let's move from that kitchen out into a lush forest. Here, we've got a little mouse who is just desperately trying to wake up a snoring bear. The bear's hibernating, and his snores are so unbelievably loud that the poor mouse hasn't slept all winter. After trying and failing to wake the bear himself, he even tried using a bugle, the exhausted mouse decides he has to get some outside help.
So, the tiny, squeaky mouse approaches the massive, roaring king of the forest, asking the lion to just roar the bear awake. The mouse knows the lion's roar is deafening enough to make anyone jump. But the lion? He arrogantly refuses to assist. He takes one look at the size of the mouse and makes an immediate assumption about his worth.
The lion completely dismisses him, basically saying, "You're not even big enough to be considered snack size." Ouch, right? He just automatically assumes that such a tiny, seemingly useless creature could literally never offer anything of value to the mighty king of the forest. It's just a classic case of misjudging a whole situation based purely on surface-level appearances.
But get this, shortly after brushing off the mouse, this mysterious ailment suddenly strikes the lion, and you can see his desperation escalate incredibly fast. Minute 1, he's hiding in a corner, just itching crazily. By minute 5, he's violently rubbing his back against a tree, totally unable to stop. And by minute 10, he is so absolutely desperate that he runs and throws himself straight into a nearby lake. He has no earthly idea what is attacking him, and blind panic is completely taking over.
Well, the mystery gets solved when the tiny mouse, who just happens to be strolling by, takes a careful look at the lion's thick fur. The mouse spots exactly what the mighty lion couldn't see at all: jumping fleas. So the brave little guy crawls right into that scruffy fur and pulls out every last one of them. The lion's false assumption about the mouse is totally shattered, and to repay the massive favor, the grateful lion marches right over to the bear's cave and roars him awake, finally bringing some peace and quiet back to the forest.
Section 3. The Ultimate Ocean Enigma. All right, let's zoom out from the jungle to a massive, real-world geographical enigma. We are going to explore the Bermuda Triangle. This is a place where human assumptions and wild imaginations have run rampant for literally centuries, completely blinding us to the simple, logical truths hiding right beneath the waves.
Now, the absolute most crucial point to understand about this supposedly deadly, unmapped, shifting region in the North Atlantic is that it isn't even officially recognized by the U.S. government. There are literally no universal boundaries. Bounded roughly by Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, the size of this invisible triangle ranges anywhere between 500,000 and 1.5 million square miles, depending on who's telling the story. I mean, that is a massive amount of room for error when you're trying to pin disappearances on a specific geographic curse.
And the historical lore of this area? It's been building up for hundreds of years. It starts way back in 1492 when Christopher Columbus reported strange compass readings and a weird light on the horizon. Then, jump to the 1600s, the English ship Sea Venture wrecked in a hurricane right in that area. But the lore really exploded in 1918 when the USS Cyclops, which was this massive Navy cargo ship, vanished without a single SOS call, taking over 300 men with it.
Section 4. Investigating the ghost ships. So, how exactly did the supernatural hype around all these vanishings turn this random patch of ocean into the legendary Devil's Triangle? Well, without hard facts readily available, people began to connect the dots using their imaginations, exactly like the kids assuming a mouse was making the mess in their kitchen. The myth escalated so incredibly fast. First, you have the 1881 legend of the Ellen Austin finding a perfectly intact ghost ship. Then comes the tragic 1945 loss of the Flight 19 bombers, where the pilot reported entering mysterious white water. By 1964, Vincent Gaddis officially coins the term Bermuda Triangle in a magazine article. And then, right during the height of Cold War paranoia in 1974, Charles Berlitz publishes a massive bestseller, literally blaming the disappearances on the lost city of Atlantis and, you guessed it, alien abductions.
Section 5. The Science of the Triangle. But here's the thing, just like Bongo the monkey making a mess in the kitchen or those tiny fleas causing the mighty lion to completely panic, the real culprits behind these oceanic vanishings are 100% natural. Once we strip away the time portals and the alien abduction theories, what we actually find is cold, hard environmental science.
Environmental extremes pose some insanely intense navigational challenges here. First off, historical compass variations, where true north and magnetic north align along the shifting agonic line, caused massive early navigation errors. Add to that the Gulf Stream turbulence, which moves at 4 to 5 knots. To put that into perspective, that's like 300 times faster than the Amazon River. Throw in the fact that this region is regularly battered by devastating hurricane weather and can even produce terrifying rogue waves that tower up to 100 feet tall. When you look at it that way, these natural factors so easily explain how ships can be pushed hundreds of miles off course and disappear without a trace.
Section 6. The greatest reveal of all. All right, we are about to completely debunk this massive myth right here, right now. And it proves exactly why verifiable, cold hard data is the ultimate reveal. Once we look at the actual math, instead of listening to the scary stories around the campfire, the whole mystery just evaporates.
First, I want you to really keep this number in mind. 1.5 million square miles. At its maximum estimated size, the triangle provides an unimaginably massive stage. When you have an area that gigantic, filled with arguably some of the worst weather on the entire planet, and it's heavily traversed by thousands upon thousands of ships and planes, well, simple human error and terrible storms are naturally going to occasionally result in tragedies. It's a statistical inevitability, not some ancient maritime curse. Look what happens when we analyze actual Lloyd's List shipping data from 2021. A frankly shocking reality emerges. Out of over 8,600 boats that passed through the Bermuda Triangle that year, only 2, yes, just 2, suffered casualties. That means 99.98% of vessels experienced completely safe passage, leaving just a microscopic 0.02% casualty rate. For context, the global average for vessel casualties is actually almost 2%, so the so-called danger here is just incredibly overblown. This side-by-side comparison literally drives the final nail into the coffin. Looking at a massive marine casualty dataset spanning from 1982 all the way to 2015, out of roughly 9,000 global incidents, only 4% occurred in the Bermuda Triangle. Compare that to the 96% global average. And the number of those triangle incidents officially classified as mysterious disappearances, 0. Not a single one. The Bermuda Triangle doesn't even make the top 10 list of most dangerous ocean regions in the world. You are at absolutely no more risk traveling through there than you are anywhere else on the globe. Which really leaves us with one final thought. From a monkey tearing up a kitchen, to a lion plagued by tiny fleas, to a perfectly normal patch of stormy ocean disguised as some sort of alien portal, our minds just love a good, spooky, supernatural explanation when we lack the actual facts. But once we replace our wild assumptions with sound logic and hard data, what other famous legends out there will turn out to be fabulously unremarkable? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today, and hey, keep questioning the mysteries around you.